Today's guest is a powerhouse storyteller whose work doesn't just entertain, it hits. He's the director behind bold, gripping films that live in the tension between humanity and truth. I'm honored to welcome director Nick Rowland. Let's get into it. It's interesting when you make movies and then you hear people who talk about movies. And I always tell them, I'm like, before you have an opinion, try making one first.
Actually, when you break down, there's so many decisions that go into a film, and actually, films that maybe don't work as well as others, you can still break
Mm.
down all of the decisions and be like, yeah, I can kind of see why all of these decisions have been made, and it's kind of terrifying that the difference between a good movie and a bad movie is actually quite fine details often. Um, so yeah, I agree. And then it gets reduced to you spend years making something and then people watch it and they either go, "Oh, that was pretty good," and then they get on with their lives, or they go, "Oh, that was rubbish," and then they get on with their lives.
How do you feel coming off of a set of a movie? Is it withdrawal with wanting to be back there, or what is it?
I think with She Ride Shotgun, more than anything I've done, it was a lot of fun. There was a really great group of people, and obviously it was a lot of pressure, insane amount of pressure. We shot it in 25 days, and which which is difficult, and obviously because Anna was she was 9 when we cast her, and I think she was 10 by the time we started filming. But that really reduces the hours you can be on set with her because of her age. So we weren't even doing full days as well a lot of the time, or you know, up until her curfew, we'd be like rushing, rushing, rushing to get stuff done. So it'd be scrambling to get a bunch of scenes done, and then suddenly we would have 3 hours to shoot Taran walking up a staircase or something, or something very simple. So it was sort of feast or famine in that sense. But then also post-production was quick. We picture locked the movie in 13 weeks, which was from day one of the edit
Wow.
to picture lock, it was 13 weeks. So Julie Monroe, the editor, was amazing.
Mm.
Marlene Lopez, the first assistant editor, we were sort of putting in a lot of hours to sort of to get it over the line.
When I have a couple of favorite scenes, but my favorite scene is the first one. We got the landscape, and then we get to the school. It allowed me to put down the critic and just enjoy the movie. What was your philosophy on coverage and knowing when to take the time to get the shots that you wanted since it was such a shortened time?
It's actually something I'm not sure if you can look this up and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe it was David Lean that said you should state your intention in the first 5 minutes, or I
Mm.
guess teach your opening sequence needs to teach the audience how to watch the film and what the language of the film is going to be. So then you can just settle into the experience and feel like there's a safe pair of hands behind the wheel. Time is not something we had a lot of. We shot it over two afternoons because we needed it to be magic hour. We sort of jump cut through some time passing, and then it's meant to be just as the light is dying. And that gives you like a very small window, which coincided also with when Anna's curfew was coming up. So it was so I can't say we made time for anything there. It was all very rushed. So yeah, so I really what I was thinking about was making it fully subjective to Polly's perspective. The film starts with her as a kid in her natural environment around other kids. And that's how I wanted to end the film as well, with her being back around other kids, but with holding on to everything that she's just been through, I guess. So it starts with a tracking shot of her coming out of the school, and we achieved that by we had all these local kids, and I think, we did one take where we called action, and just all of the kids were just doing their best, but it wasn't feeling very real. So then actually I think what we did is we never called action or cut on that. So we whispered to Anna when we were ready to start filming.
Mm.
And the kids were just being kids, and she walks out. And really, even though it's a wide shot, we wanted the focus to be on her and to sort of show that amongst these kids, she's different. She's sort of um, she's her own little island. She's not, she doesn't belong to any group. She's sort of alone, even though she's in a very busy frame. That whole first, even when we first see Taron, the car pulls up, you're sort of, I guess, like thinking about Western, we're shooting in New Mexico. There's like this sort of, obviously watched a lot the spaghetti Westerns and all that kind of stuff and sort of trying to give it that, I guess I wanted it to feel a bit mythic. The big bad wolf, that's great. That's sort of what we were going for. And it was very intentional that we didn't, the first frame of Taron, he's mostly concealed by the pillar of the car, which we then sort of bring back at the end of the film with Anna. So it's sort of like trying to give it these details, but for it to still feel organic and natural
Mm.
and not over egging anything, I guess.
Stay tuned for part two.